What's going on, Philadelphia? It's your man Kevin Taylor, Birds Fly Talk here. And look, I've made a lot of videos here giving my opinion on things, but of all the videos to this date that I've made, I feel like this is the most important one. And if anyone from the Eagles were to see one of my videos or someone close to the team, and really I don't think that they even need to see it. I'm sure this idea is going to go and flow through their heads on how to game plan for this playoff game and what they're going to do with Nick Foles, but they need to seriously consider this idea, and obviously this video here, I want to give you guys my thoughts on what the Eagles need to do to get Nick Foles ready to win a divisional playoff game and win a NFC title game here in Philadelphia. Everything that we work so hard for, the team and as fans cheering on the team and supporting has come to fruition. We set goals in the beginning of the year to win the NFC East, secure a first-round bye, get home field advantage, and then control our own destiny. The Eagles are the only team in the NFC East who can say that. The only team at the beginning of the season, they set those goals. They said 13-3. They went out and did it. And the only thing that has changed is what? We lost our starting quarterback, and that's, a guy who was playing. He was the MVP. In my opinion, he is the MVP. But that being said, just because we lost wins, that doesn't mean that we can just make excuses and give up on what we worked so hard to get to. We have to seize it. Something has to happen. We've seen Nick Foles. A lot of people talk about Nick Foles. He's a third rounder. He's third round talent with a higher ceiling. He's Mr. 27-2. He's not mobile. He's accurate. He can throw the deep ball. He doesn't have the it factor. You can't win with him. He's a journeyman. All those things at some point have been true with Nick Foles. He's been great. He's been horrible. We've seen that in the span of 3 weeks. He has been super good and super awful. We've seen it. And so the one thing that, jumps in my mind is, of all those things, one thing I can say during that entire time that Nick Foles has been is inconsistent. He's been inconsistent. He's shown me, he's shown me black. He's shown me white. He's shown me red. He's shown me blue. He literally is, he's on every end of the spectrum. And so what do you do with that? How do you win with a guy like that? How do you do that? When I think about Nick Foles, and his struggles, the more added things he has to worry about, the more struggling he does, right? In New York, the defense didn't play that well. But Nick Foles, the offensive line played well. The offense executed pretty well. He didn't have much to worry about at all. He really didn't. Didn't get hit that much. Didn't get pressured. He had a clean pocket. He was able to go out there and tear it up. And what happened the next week, right? Well, Khalil Mack came to town. Lane Johnson struggled for the first time in the his entire season, really. And Nick Foles didn't have a clean pocket. And so when something like that happened before, we had wins, right? But Nick Foles had to worry about, so he's holding on to the ball, and he's immediately, his feet are coming high off the ground. He's not keeping them low to the ground in his steps, right? And he's moving around. He's doing things that are not success oriented for Nick Foles. He's panicking, and on top of that, it's cold, right? And so all these things were added in, and you look at wide receivers dropping balls, and you think about all those things, and it added to what Nick Foles had to think about it, and he couldn't do what he was good at. When you think about Nick Foles, the one thing that people say Nick Foles does well is when he has time, he's accurate, and he throws a pretty darn good deep ball, right? We didn't see that in the last 2 weeks. He was thinking about other things. So guess what? Now you think about those things. Was the O-line going to struggle when we play in the first round of the playoffs? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I hope not. Are wide receivers going to drop balls? I don't know. They could. It's definitely a possibility. Is the weather going to be cold? You bet your ass it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold out there. Is there going to be pressure? Well, guess what? Not even that normal pressure. It's playoff pressure, and Nick has felt that before. And before Nick, when he was in that 27-2 offense with Chip Kelly, Nick always found a way to put this Eagles team into, a good situation at the end of a game where the defense had to step up. That's the Nick Foles I need to get to. And here's how we do it. Look, when I think about a quarterback that has gone from awful to just great in a short span of time, I think about Jared Goff. And what has really changed for Jared Goff? Well, they got some offensive pieces around him. But the one thing to me that has changed is that they stopped putting so much pressure on him and they put it on the coach. Sean McVay came into town. And guess what? That offense just absolutely spread its wings and flew. What they're doing over there is they simplified the offense for Jared Goff. When the math is too hard for your quarterback, simplify, reduce. Put some of the pressure on someone else, i.e. the coach. Doug Peterson, we have a great offensive-minded coach here in Philadelphia. Let's put some of that pressure on Doug Peterson, take some of the pressure off of Nick Foles, give him one less thing to worry about. I literally am talking about taking what the Rams have done this entire season to give Jared Goff success. Jared Goff is very similar. He's a better Nick Foles. He's not mobile, he's accurate, and throws a great deep ball. We have to pull those elements out of Nick Foles' game and make this game simple for him. He was his best when he was in Chip Kelly's offense, and he had to make one read in that offense. He either had the deep ball or the dump off. And I'm not saying we go back to that because teams will be all over that. But what we can do is just what Sean McVay set up for Jared Goff. And pretty much what it is a whole bunch of window dressing, a lot of motions, moving people, getting linebackers' eyes moving all over the field. 15 seconds in, we have Doug Peterson on the sideline, in Nick Foles' headset, telling him what the defense is doing, where to look, and then from there, Nick Foles can decipher, and he'll be told where his read is and what he needs to do. Simple offense. All Nick Foles will have to do is be accurate. That's it. That is it. As long as the offensive line plays to their ability, which they are, a top 3 offensive line in this league, and they give Nick Foles a clean pocket with the added cold and the added pressure, you simplify the offense like this, you literally will have a better shot at winning with him. And I know it sounds drastic. I know it does, but think about it here. They have tape on Nick Foles. What did the Raiders do to Foles? Well, they said, all right, you're gonna try to lean on Jay Ajayi or your running game. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna load the box after that touchdown. Try and beat us, Nick. Try and beat us. That's what they're going to do. People load the box against us. You got linebackers that far up against the line of scrimmage. Motion here, motion there, a lot of fakes here. Get their eyes going all over the place, especially if we're playing the Panthers. Luke Kuechly, think about it. You have to get people looking elsewhere. You have to lean on the best offensive mind that's on this team right now. And I'm not saying Carson Wentz isn't on the team, obviously, but in the game plan, Carson Wentz was, he's just as gifted as Doug Peterson, but he's gone. He's not here to help us. He's going to be sitting in a booth taking notes. So you have to rely on your best offensive mind who is on that field. And by field, in this instance, I mean the sideline. And I'm talking about Doug Peterson. Let him make the decisions. Let him control the situation. Let him help Nick Foles as best he can. Let Nick Foles lean on Doug. Doug got this far. He's in the running for Coach of the Year. Let him flex. Let him win this game for Nick. There's no reason why we need to go in here and say Nick Foles has to win this game for us. He doesn't. He just doesn't need to turn over the ball. He has to be decisive and accurate and let our defense and run game pound, and we'll play cold weather Philadelphia football and go get a win. Get a playoff win. Get the NFC Championship here in Philadelphia. You saw what they were able to do with Jared Goff. From awful to spectacular, to get the best out of Jared Goff. That's not because Jared Goff was terrible. He never was. His potential was untapped. So now, in a short period of time, 10 days, we need to get our stuff together. Get in Nick Foles' head that we are going to simplify this offense for you without making that completely obvious to the other defense and other coaching staff. And B, there's not going to be any film on that for them. Teams are going to be taken by surprise when we are doing this, when we're simplifying this offense, because we've never done it before. We've had wins. And after wins, we tried to go out there with the same offense for Nick Foles. Simplify the offense. It is drastic, but guess what? We have an opportunity here that we have not seen in years. Something drastic has to be done. We cannot go in there and rely on Nick Foles to win us this Super Bowl, or think that just because we have 2 more weeks that he's going to be any better than he's been before. Yes, he's getting more reps, and all those things are very good. But guess what? The coaching staff, it's on them now. The run game, it's on them now. We are going to eat around Nick Foles. Like, when something, that's not tasty is put on your plate and you eat around it, we are going to eat around Nick Foles. I'm serious. Simplify the offense. Sean McVay style. It's a copycat league, guys. It happens all the time. Use the tempo. And look, we're going to eat around Nick Foles. Let him do what he's good at. Don't put too much on his plate. I'm Kevin Taylor, Birds Fly Talk, and I hope the Eagles seriously suggest using this, because at this point, what do we have to lose? We're not going out there with a crapshoot with Nate Sudfeld. We've only seen him throw 22 passes, Doug Peterson said Nick Foles is the guy. We got to believe him when he says that. Here's how you win with Nick Foles. Simplify the offense. I'm Kevin Taylor, Birds Fly Talk.